Hey, everybody, it's Clint, the Ivy League trucker. Today, we are going to listen to an interview with Naj. Naj is a lady trucker who is in my company, and I've gotten to know her a little bit over the last few years. And I've gotten a number of requests to do an interview with a female trucker, especially from my sister in law, who is pretty excited to hear it. I've always wondered what it's like for a woman to be a trucker as well, from a safety and lifestyle aspect, as well as just, feeling comfortable out there on the road. And also, women tend to be the social drivers of their family, much more involved in taking care of children. So I think it's more difficult for women to do, but maybe it's not. So women in heavy duty trucking are definitely a small minority. There are a number of women who hold class B and C. That's school buses and local vans, that sort of thing. But when I think of trucking, I'm thinking of 18 wheelers, that's class A, over 26,000 pounds, and either regional or over the road type of driving that I'm a little more familiar with. So for that, it's about 4 or 5% are women. It's about 9% women in the more local routes. They tend to be regional and local dedicated runs, the shorter hauls, for even for the over the road 18 wheelers. And as far as type of truck and type of lane, they tend to be in the dry van, that's general freight, or reefer, that's refrigerated general freight segments where the loading and unloading is being done by, somebody else with a forklift primarily. Much less common for women would be flatbed, liquid bulk, or chemical tanker like I do. That's more of a male industrial, male dominated culture, or over the road long haul, month to 6 weeks on the road by yourself. Safety barriers are probably the biggest thing there. I mean, there is harassment and sex discrimination. Also, there's been a decline in women since 2022, and it's attributed primarily to lack of quality childcare coming out of the pandemic and other safety concerns. Women are most present actually in the leadership of some trucking companies. About 1 in 3 C-suite or management suite executives are women. And I know in our company, there's a woman who's in the senior leadership, one of the family members who are the owners of our company. So the barriers to women are really kind of structural in this industry. Safety concerns on the road, restroom and parking infrastructure issues, and a male-dominated industrial culture in a lot of the areas. But they are out there. Hey, everybody, it's Clint, the Ivy League trucker, and today I'm here with Naj. I'm here with Naj, and she is one of the very few lady truckers in our company. A number of my friends, especially my sister-in-law, were asking me, "What's it like to be a lady trucker?" Naj is someone I've gotten to know a little bit in our company and really respect her. She's a straightforward, get it done kind of person. Naj, how you doing today?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm on my morning coffee, so all is right in the world.
There you go. Yeah, don't touch a girl's coffee. You could be in trouble.
Mhm.
We're both actually at home, which on the weekend today. So Naj, could you tell us a little bit like your general background, like kind of how you grew up and that sort of thing? I know you're from the city of Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Picture it, Sicily, 1983.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I come from a family of 8, so I'm
Wow.
the oldest of 6. So
Wow.
a lot of the things that the way that I am, my personality comes from being the oldest. You as the oldest sibling, it was always you that had to look out for the younger ones and take
Mhm.
care of them when, your parents wasn't home and stuff.
Right.
So I lived in a lot of different states, cities. My parents moved around a lot
Okay.
because they just moved around a lot. I don't know. They don't have no reason. And they decided to have kids. And as far as I'm concerned, as I got older, a lot of people don't know my independence come from the fact that my parents, separated. So
Oh,
I
okay.
went with my dad, my mom. Yeah, yeah, because we were in two different states. My
Yeah.
mom is she was in Cleveland, but that's Ohio.
right.
and my dad stayed in PA. So when you have those type of dynamics, especially when most of the children or females go to their father, they tend to have to be a lot more independent
Right.
than if they would go to their mothers.
Mhm.
Because the father can't really tell you how to be a female because he don't know. All they
Yep.
know is, "I gotta make sure you eat, you have a
Yeah.
place to stay, and you have clothes on your back." That's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, they can't do nothing else.
As a father, I can tell you, like, sometimes my kids would be like and I look at 'em and go, "I ain't your mother, okay?"
Right, right. So you have to so people don't know that that's where my a lot of my personality comes
Okay.
from being independent,
Mhm.
you know? And then as I got older, finished school, then I had my daughter, was about 20.
Okay.
I had her at 20. I was doing I was a CNA. I worked at a nurse's facility, taking care of Alzheimer's and dementia patients, which
Right.
I will remind you, they're my favorite patients.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Even though, they're the most combative,
Yeah.
when you take care of them, they're the least trouble because when they need something, they actually need something. When you take care of a regular resident, they're the ones who just do shit just to, "Hey, can you fluff my pillow?" when they got good arms and good fingers, you know?
Yeah,
So, yeah, they think it's a hotel where, the Alzheimer's and dementia residents, they actually need the care.
they do.
Which I might add, if anyone has the Alzheimer's and dementia parent, it is the best thing to put them in a facility. Just make sure you watch the facility. It's impossible to have them at home. I think, that's the best way because they can be watched 24/7. They actually need that type of care.
Mhm. Okay.
So I did that. And then the way I got into trucking started after I did my nursing, right? So I ended up being in the union, right?
Uh-huh.
As a laborer. So I was doing construction right after that, which was about almost 20 years ago. I actually started in construction, but I would travel and do contract work at the nuclear power plant.
Wow.
So I would travel around the US, yeah, and I would go there and do construction. And I remember about 12, 13 years ago, I was on a construction site and I had a coworker who would train drivers. He said that he worked at, part-time doing, at the CDL school. He said, "You would make a good truck driver." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." Because he said, "I watch you work and all that stuff." He said, you will make more money and,
Mhm.
you can work independently." So I said, "For real?" And he said, "Yeah." So he gave me the pamphlets and stuff. But when I found out how much it cost, I said, "Oh, hell no. I don't have that." Because back then they wanted like $10,000 for
Really?
over 10. Mm-hmm.
For CDL school, that's high.
Yeah. That's high as shit. That's why I said, "Oh, hell no." So I didn't I never thought about it after that. I kept doing construction. Now, I ended up doing start driving after I went to right before COVID. I got my license before COVID. I was doing construction at a power plant. And someone was telling me, they said, "Yo, they got their license." And they said, "Well, if you're on unemployment would pay for your license." I said, "Huh?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, shoot, that sounds like a plan. If they pay for my license, no worries. I can just, and I can see where it goes.
Yeah,
Something I
yeah.
can use because doing construction, they need, CDL drivers anyway because they move heavy equipment and stuff like that. So if I go in these site, I can also use that and they would use me to drive around and do whatever it is that they need to do." So I said, "Okay, I'll do it." So what I did was, when you're in construction, they lay you off a lot.
Right.
So as soon as they laid me off, I knew I had another job to go to, but I usually didn't work the summer. So I applied through unemployment, got laid off. You know, they have you write a letter on why you want to, do whatever.
Career
Yeah,
transition? Yeah.
yeah, that you might want to do. And you do that, and then they'll give you the grant to take the classes. So what I did was once they gave me the grant, I went to school. Now, here's the thing, you do have to pass in order for them to pay for it. If you don't pass, then they ask for the money back because
Alright.
I guess they figure that's a waste of time.
So you're motivated.
So mhm. So I got my license, I went to school, I passed, and as soon as I got my license, I went right back to work. I didn't even use it immediately because
Okay.
I had gotten a job offer I couldn't refuse,
Alright.
and they were paying way more than I woulda got in trucking monthly, so I went, and then after that, I said, "You know what? I'm gonna go and find a job driving." And plus, I already knew that within the first 6 months to a year that they usually don't make too much money. The companies like to stick it to you as a new driver. My plan was to put money to the side so that way I didn't have to depend on driving or being restricted to the company
Mhm.
because of money. So as soon as I got laid off from the power plant in Michigan, I went to Prime. And those MFers, boy, I went to Prime, and yeah, they stick it to you too, real good.
And
So
just for the audience, Prime is one of the largest trucking companies in America. They're
yes,
huge, but
they're
they
huge.
they do the dry van, but they also do bulk. But yeah, Prime.
Yes, they do reefer too, and that's what I was supposed to do. When I went there, they were supposed to put me in tankering, but
Okay,
they put me in the reefer unit, and they said because they didn't have a trainer to train me for, you know,
right. And
bulk work.
reefer for the audience is the it's a dry van, 53-foot van, but it's got the refrigeration unit on the front, and it's for all your refrigerated foods.
Food products or whatever need to be refrigerated, correct.
Right.
So I went to Prime, and I knew once I started because they want 50,000 miles or whatever. For whatever reason, they want 50,000 miles if you drive the dry van or reefer, but they only want 30,000 miles if you drive the bulk, if you train with the bulk. And I'm like, well, damn, that's a huge difference.
Right.
So so what happened was and I think they did it intentionally. You and your trainer both drive and they combine those miles together. So you're not really going to drive 30,000 miles, but you will drive 30,000 miles together with your trainer.
Right, so that's
So that
2 people in the truck alternating
yes,
driving, and that's how a lotta companies do the initial training for new drivers in their company.
yes, yes. So I ended up applying there. Like I said, I had money set to the side because I was making, good money at the plant. So I ended up with a trainer and that was great. A lot of people complain about trainers.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own thing. I didn't have any problems with my trainers because when I introduced myself and I let them know, you know, what was going on, what I would, my intentions, and I asked them what was their requirements. I didn't have any problems, and I told them, "Don't start no shit, won't be no shit." That was it.
And they were women?
No, I had all male trainers. I
Yeah,
didn't have they couldn't find female trainers either. I
okay.
never required a female trainer and I didn't ask for one because coming from construction,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was usually me, 1 against 100, or if we do like a shutdown something, then it's more women, but it's usually me and 2 or 3 other women. That was it. So I had no problems with working with other men. As
Mhm.
long as you stay and you let them know don't start nothing, won't be nothing, you're fine.
There you
So
go.
I never had no issues.
Yeah.
So when I got on the truck, now I did bring all my own stuff, sleeping bag, everything that I needed. So that way
Mhm.
I didn't interfere with what they were doing on the daily. All I needed was a bed to myself and they had a top bunk.
Yep.
Fine, that's what we did. So I went to training and let me tell you, Prom would sit there and they will sit there and have you run the road, and never send you home. They'll send you to every state but your state, which is a tactic they do, and that's a shitty thing to do because
So how long were you
you
out
could get
before you got home? Like, how long would you stay out?
I was out for what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? No, 4 weeks.
Uh-huh.
4 weeks, and then I came home, and I only came home because we had to come down this way. and my trainer wanted to take a break. I told him, I said, "Listen, I ain't gonna sit on this truck all this time. I got other shit to do.
Right.
I'll do the training, but I didn't get my license through Prime. If you get your license through a company, they usually try to sit there and hold it over your head and try to take control over what you're doing and all that stuff.
Right.
I knew firsthand that I wasn't going to allow that. So if you can, it's best to get your license before you go to these companies, because if you go to the companies and they have your license, it's kinda hard to get out the contract and stuff. I was able to just maneuver
Right.
because they told me, "Oh, well, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and then you go home." And I said, "Fuck that. You want me to work 6 days to earn the day off? How the hell do I earn the day off? Are you serious?" So I
Mhm.
said, "Well, I'm gonna go home." And they tried to tell me I couldn't go home. I said, "Yeah, okay." So they kept us out, and finally my trainer, he ended up saying that he wanted to take the, time off. And he told them that. And they still tried to send us out. So he said, "Listen, either y'all want to send us back home or you know, with the load, or I'm a deadhead back." Nobody answered. We deadhead all the way back to Pennsylvania. And I think, where were we coming from? We were coming from California.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And then we ended up close.
and Naj and I were talking before we started this recording about how the majority of trucking companies treat their drivers like shit,
They will
and
screw you.
they will screw you, and we were both agreeing that this company small family-run company that we work for is like kind of a 1 in 100 kinda thing. They treat us really well, they pay us decently, you get respect, and they pretty much say what they do and do what they say, there's no bullshit, and I'm personally thankful for it. I mean, what's your feeling about that?
My feeling is just the company is great, but you gotta think about who's behind the company. So the
Mhm.
benefits we get comes from the owner of the company,
Yes.
being that he was a driver. But that does that mean that he has to give us the benefits that he give us? No, not at all. But he does, and I appreciate it. Do some drivers take advantage of that? Yes, they do, and there's shitty ass drivers for that. But it is what it is. But he does try to make sure that we actually get a good experience and work with us, because he knows that companies are shitty. And at him as a driver, he didn't want to have to work for a company and then be treated, the same way. So he
Yeah.
does look out for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate it. It's definitely a very good company.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so you're with Prime, and
hmm
what happened? How did you get out of Prime?
Well, I got out of Prime because when I came back to PA, because we had to take a break. I went and applied immediately. I said, "I'm not doing this shit," because what pissed me off is they sent us to Atlanta, and the thing was, I couldn't get the idea of, you go and you get a trailer, and in order for you to work, you had to find an empty trailer. We got to Atlanta, we're looking for a trailer, there's no trailers in sight. But then we found a trailer, and we find it's like 40 pallets on there, and they said, "Well, you gotta get the pallets out." I said, "Who the hell's doing that?" I said, "Why is it not empty?"
So
And,
you gotta
my
go
trainer,
find lumpers are cash pay loader unloader guys. So did you have to find a lumper, or did you haul all the pallets off yourself?
no, no, we couldn't find the lumper because it was an empty trailer, and that's how they're the ones who left it like that. We had to unload
Ugh.
it ourselves. And my trainer was like, "Well, we're gonna have to clean." I said, "Clean who?" I said, "I'm not doing that shit." I said, "I'm not being paid for that." I said, "Y'all, they specifically only pay you to drive, but yet you're continuing to work." And he said, "Well, we need an empty trailer if we're going to continue to get paid to work." I said, "But I'm working. You should be paid for that." But they don't pay you for that. That's
Yeah.
how they get away with screwing a lot of drivers. You're technically working. So he was out there, and actually some of the guys at the warehouse, they were so nice about it. They said, "Man, we'll help y'all, and, so we could clean out the trailer." So we got it. It took us 2 hours, 2, 3 hours
Oh, yeah, for sure.
before, and that's time that they don't pay you for. They only pay you to actually drive, but which I never understood. Y'all pay us to just drive, but yet we technically have to clean out trailers. We have to, do a lot of things to prepare to deliver the load. and y'all getting free labor. And coming from construction, we don't do free labor, especially from the union. I'm not doing that shit.
That's right.
And then when I applied, I I already had it in my mind that, I'll try something else so that way, you know, I I don't get screwed, because I knew I was gonna
Mhm.
get screwed staying with Prime. I
Right.
knew that. So, what I did was the way I got out of it is they actually wanted me to work, and they said the guy, my district manager, he goes, "Well, you gotta work and you gotta do this and you can't take time off." And I said, "Bullshit. I'm out of here. I don't give a damn what y'all got going." So he tried to get me to so what I told him was I said, "Well, I got an emergency I have to take care of. So I gotta take time off of that." Now they can't stop you for, things like that.
Right.
So I when we went home, I went straight to the company. And I actually they called me and they said, "Oh, come in, do an interview." Got on the phone, talked, and they told me to come in. And actually it got hired right then and there. And I just quit. I never told them I told they called me and said, "Hey, are you coming back?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll come back. Just give me a second." Fuck y'all. Never call back.
Wow.
I don't give a damn. Y'all don't look out for me. What the hell I'm gonna look out for y'all for? Y'all tried to screw me.
Yep.
So I ended up here.
So
Mhm.
when was that? Was that, like, in 21 or 22?
No, this was in 2022. Yep, you're correct.
Yeah, so
So,
you and I both I started it with the company in February of 22.
oh, did
Uh,
you? Oh, then we only a couple months apart.
yeah, and I had done a year with Schneider before that in bulk. And
Oh, okay.
Schneider was, they don't pay very well, but Schneider's a good company. The training was very good, and they were
Mhm.
very straightforward, but they're a massive company, you're just a number,
Yes.
And I basically doubled my pay for doing almost exactly the same thing when I came over to this small family-run company, so I was like, "Okay,
Right.
that's the right move."
Mhm. Now, I knew that, starting it wasn't gonna be that much, so like I said, when I did my training, the pay sucked. When I tell you, you don't have shit left, while you out there, and you end up spending more money because you're on the road. It's
Right.
very hard not to spend no money while you're out there. You need things,
Yeah,
just basic necessity. So, like I said, I had money set aside, and that's what I lived off of while I was training. So I got my time and everything in there. So when I came to this company, I was ready to go.
there you
I
go.
didn't care,
S
I,
so
I needed to work.
so
Mhm.
contrast this company versus Prime. Like, what's different about it? What's good about it? What's bad about it?
What's good is you actually get paid for work that you do. You know what I mean? They don't try to take over or not pay you and yet you're working. You get paid hourly, which is great. And I suggest anybody who works get paid hourly because when you get paid by miles, you can end up unloading for 6 hours and they don't pay you. That's
Right.
very hard to do when you need a check.
Mhm.
You're confined to basically working and trying to make sure you drive as much as you can, but you can't drive that much when you gotta also factor in when you go get unloaded. It might take you 5, 6, especially if you're doing drive-in. I'm not gonna say hour work. When you do drive-in and stuff, it might take them 5, 6 hours to unload you,
Yep.
include and wait time, and they don't pay you for that.
Right,
But
and
yet you got this job strapped to your back. So you're still at work, but you're not getting paid. And the thing about it is I'm in this truck, I have this load. Y'all not getting paid until I deliver.
yep,
So y'all want us to hold on to it. You can't abandon the truck because then you could get blackballed from other companies because they think that you'll abandon their truck. So but yet they don't wanna pay you for waiting and stuff like that, and I find that to me, that totally turned me off from doing drive-in and reefer, which is why, most tankering companies, they do pay by the hour, and for
right.
me, I would take hourly pay because in the long run, you will make more.
That's true, and I find that to be very true, and I've done the research, it's still 3/4 of the industry is paid by the mile, and it's only like
Right.
20, 25% of the industry is paid by the hour, and it tends to be the more the better companies, the more specialized companies, chemical, petroleum, heavy haul, all that are paid because when you pay by the hour, you're actually incenting people to be safe. It's like you're not trying to, speed to get more miles. You're not trying to cheat on your hours of service clock and get more miles. It's like it doesn't matter what you're
Mhm.
doing. You could be driving, you could be sitting at the customer, you could have a 6-hour delay at an oil plant where they don't unload you, you could be stuck in snow and traffic. No matter what you're doing, you're getting paid. And so
Right.
you're actually say, "Look, take it slow, do it the right way, don't rush because I'm gonna pay you the same," or take the truck to get it washed or something. It's just
Mhm.
no matter what we're doing, we're paid the same, and that's and it's also just much more steady and a better way to go. But pay by the mile, you're actually saying, "Okay, run as many miles as you can and speed and, cheat and do all that because time you get stuck in traffic or get stuck at a shipper, you're not getting paid."
You're right, and you gotta take into account a lot of driving means a lot of time in traffic jam. You're not getting paid to sit in the traffic jam, but if you get paid hourly, you're getting paid while you're in the traffic jam.
Yep.
That gets added into your bottom line. You
Yeah.
can't really make very good money unless as a person that get paid by the mile unless you actually do a lot of miles and basically drop and hook because you can just drop a trailer and get moving. You don't really spend too much time doing anything. So that works for people that, you can make money when you do that. But when you actually got to sit and unload, oh no, you can forget it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
literally strapped. You have to base your pay rather not you're gonna sit somewhere for a long term or if they're gonna, unload you quickly and things like that. And that's when
Yeah.
people try to pay, lumpers to unload them. I'm not paying you to unload your own shit. I thought that was the craziest thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's like off I mean, I haven't worked in dry van, but what I've heard is these lumpers are basically just brute labor to load and unload the truck, and
Right.
often it'll be, it might be really heavy stuff, or it might be stuff that is in a lot of small pieces, and you have to pay these people, and you pretty much have to pay them cash.
Right. But my thing is, why isn't the I've always wanted to know why isn't the company paying, the
They
lumper
should be.
fee? It's
They
your
should be.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Y'all can't
absolutely.
get y'all ordered it and we have to deliver it. Why aren't y'all paying to unload the stuff that y'all ordered? So
Yeah.
essentially, like a lot of owner operators have to pay to get their load unloaded on stuff that the company ordered.
Yep. It's
And
just
it's a couple $100.
yeah, and it's another crappy little part of the industry. So
Mhm.
so Naj, what would you say is like your most favorite thing about doing this work and your least favorite thing about doing this work?
I'm the type of person, I don't need anyone over top of me to do my job.
Mhm.
I like the idea of, I'm work I'm working by myself, but I also get to work for other people
Uh-huh.
here and there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't need anyone over my shoulder. This company allows you the freedom to run how you want to run as long as you get the job done. And that is amazing.
Yeah.
I can just get up. I don't have nobody's over my back saying, "Hey, you need to go get here." I already got my dispatch sheet. I know where I'm going. I don't call anybody unless I have a problem, and they don't call me unless they have a problem. So I get to run my day how I want to and still live my life how I want to and be at peace.
Mhm.
I don't like running behind other people. In construction, I have to run behind other people and do their job too, especially if you're a foreman and stuff like that. You gotta, oh, this person didn't do this, and now you gotta chase them down. I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
You have a bunch of grown people. You should be able to do your job without anybody standing over top of you. So
Yeah.
I like the independence of working alone.
Okay.
And because I don't know about you, but I go home on I'm regional, but I do go home on the weekends a lot, or I can go home every day if I want to. I'm not bothered by being out there because I know I'm going home. I got a lot of time where I can go home and I'm not stuck in the truck, 24/7 for 2, 3 weeks.
Yeah, you and I run pretty much the same way. I'm home almost every
Oh,
weekend, but and that works for my the rhythm with my wife, and she's like, "Yeah, that works." You know, she's still working, but I'm home on the weekend. I have kind of a normal non-trucking life on the weekend, and then I'm, back at it, oh dark 30 Monday morning. So, it works. What's your, like, least favorite part of it or part you don't like?
the least part is the part that nobody likes. And that's dealing with other drivers, and I'm not sometimes it's other truck drivers, there's some shitty ass, rude, disrespectful drivers, and then you have to deal with the public. They just can't drive, and you always gotta save yourself from getting in the accident or try to save them from hitting you and getting in the accident. They
Yeah.
don't care,
It's like
and
being
that's so
it's
frustrating.
it's like being the mother goose with all the ducklings running around.
Yeah, it don't make no sense, and the sad part is half the time these people do the shit on purpose. You really wanna get hit because you wanna save a second so you can get in front of me instead of behind me while you getting on the, you know, on the on ramp? That's crazy.
I
It
know.
really drives you crazy. That's the worst part. I don't mind the job in general. I unloading, loading, all that stuff. I'm not bothered by it. That's work. I'm getting paid for it. It is what it is. I don't care. I have something to do and I'm getting paid. I just don't like dealing with other drivers on the road. They tend to, every now and then you have good days where, nothing happens. And then you had them a lot of days, you start in the morning, everything's good. But as the day go by, you go from, oh, this is good. And you driving, okay, you're getting a little irritated, and then it's like, "You dumb motherfucker," by the end of the day. Why the fuck would you do that? Why are you coming off the shoulder to cut me off? You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
so they can go around you.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's the most frustrating part, and
okay.
that's a mental thing.
Yeah, yeah, you can only be responsible you can't control these people.
Right.
I remember when I was training, my initial training with no, actually my CDL training. I went to Smith& and Solomon, which is a CDL school in Philadelphia, and
Oh, okay.
I was out there doing the initial I don't have my CDL yet, and it was a female trainer, and there's 3 of us in the truck, we rotate, and I'm rolling down I-95 near Tacony and in Philly, and she goes, "Hey, see that car they just passed us? What's their name?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "That's the point. You will never meet this person or see them again. So when they do stupid crap, you just gotta have the mental attitude that it doesn't matter, you can't get upset, you're the one driving
Yeah.
the 40-ton. I mean, you literally weigh 20 times as much as their car, you know?
That's right, but, that is I don't believe in that, simply because these people know what they're doing,
Yeah,
and to have that mentality push you in a position of, "Okay, I always have to do this."
yeah.
That doesn't always work. I done got so many middle fingers, I don't give a shit. You just you can middle finger me behind me, but you're not gonna put yourself in a position where you literally putting yourself where you can get hit. And
Yep,
then when you get hit, you'll say it's my fault, but yet you're not telling them that you came from 200 feet doing 80 so you can hurry up and try to get in front of me when the lane has already closed.
yeah, yeah,
I can't be responsible for that, even though, oh yeah, you gotta have the mentality you're not gonna see them again. It don't matter.
yeah.
That's why they do it because they think they're gonna get paid. And I said, well, you know, I ain't never seen the dead man write a check. I'ma cash a check. I'll tell you that right now. So y'all can do that all y'all want to, but if you did, it don't matter.
It don't matter. Yeah, I've had all that stuff happen to me, and I just look at the person, I'm like, "Really? You wanna die today? Is that what you want?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you about this. This is one of the leading questions I get from people. It's like, as a woman, do you feel unsafe? You're working in kind of a man's world, is I guess you maybe already answered this with having worked in construction, but
Mm.
a lot of women just would say, "No way," right? So, I mean, is it something I don't know, as a woman, is it any different, or do you think about that? Do you feel unsafe or
I don't feel unsafe because of the simple fact of I do things to protect myself. I keep my what's the word I'm looking for? My location on my daughter, she checks it, and
Okay, she can
my
track your
sister.
location. Yeah, yeah. Understood.
Mhm. My sister, she's a detective. I know if I go missing, somebody's gonna, find me. So but I also, as a female, when you go into the truck stops, I
Uh-huh.
also pay attention to my surroundings.
Yeah.
I've never been approached or somebody's tried to do something to harm me or nothing. That I've heard of other women saying that. That has not happened to me. That has not been my experience.
Okay.
But, I do keep things on my truck. You can buy a bat or whatever at the truck stops. I lock my door and I make sure, and I also, what also helps that a lot of women don't pay attention to. If you go in you wouldn't know I was a female driver till you actually jump into my truck.
Right.
You know, a lot of female drivers tend to, because they're female, they try to accessorize it where everybody knows that they're a female driver. And drivers at the truck stops, they will sit in their truck in the seat and watch everybody come in. And when they see a female driver coming in there with the pink steering wheel, the pink this and that, they know that you're a female driver and they automatically keep an eye on your truck. I don't do
Yeah.
that for that specific reason. Now I do have a flower in the front. That's it. But when you go in the back, that's different. But you can't see that unless you actually looking in. But when you look in my truck from the windshield, the eye view, you don't know I'm a female driver. And usually they don't. I'm not bothered because they walk right past. Now, when I jump out the truck, then they're like, "Oh, it's a female." I do
Mhm.
that specifically for that reason. Can I accessorize and do it? I can, but I don't do that because I do not want them to automatically be able to pinpoint that I'm a female driver when I pull in. You're not gonna know that until you see me driving or you see me get out.
Would you
So,
would you recommend, trucking as a career for another woman?
hell yeah. I mean, if you here's the thing, they get it a little confused. Yes, trucking is a male-dominated field. Why
Mhm.
is that? I don't know. And I think that comes from, back when the military had those trucks and they used these trucks to transport military things. It was mostly men doing it. But
Mhm.
that drive when you think about it, you have men and women drivers on the road, period.
Right.
The only difference is the size of the vehicle that you're driving. So it's a male dominated field because women make it a male dominated field by thinking that they can't do it, but you can do it.
Yeah, you certainly
You
can.
drive a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, you drive a car.
I think it's
So
the
in hmm?
I think it's the lifestyle thing, like, the women don't wanna be
Um,
gone away from their families and stuff. Is that it?
but men have the same issues. It's not a gender thing. The lifestyle thing is a issue in itself. It has nothing to do with men or women. Now, the difference is that when there's children involved, usually the women are the ones who take on the children. Now,
Right.
there are certain drivers who are females and they bring their children with them and they do homeschool and they take them to school. But at that point, you can find a local job where you can work, you know, 12-hour shifts or whatever. Either way, you're going to be missing time from your children because you have to work. That's just it.
That's just
You
it,
know,
yeah. I think
the only
the mo I
yeah, it's
my
only a problem if you do OTR.
Yeah, over the road.
Yes,
I gotta think that more women are in local driving jobs where they can be home every night.
and they are, and they are. And I mean, I do regional because my kid, my son, he'll be seven. Oh no, he won't be 17. He'll be 18. But I do take him to wrestling practice, jujitsu, does
Mhm.
karate. He plays the guitar. He does a lot of stuff. So I am here so that way I can take him to do that type of things, those type of things. But that's why I chose the regional side.
Right,
Although
right.
they do run us, usually regional, they run us like we're local, but I don't care. I don't complain because at the end of the day, that allows me to be home when I want to. Because if you notice, I don't know if you notice, I do stay in the yard, but I only stay in the yard so that way I don't have to drive back and forth across the bridge every day. There's no reason for me to be home. My
Right,
kids are older
right.
and but I'm still in the yard just in case, so that way I can take him to his practice and things like that. So if you have little kids, and I'm talking about infants and stuff, unless you're gonna travel with them, I don't advise on doing that, and that's just because it's not stable. It's not a stable household.
Yeah,
The kids doesn't get stability.
I actually met a woman actually at the TA truck stop right by our yard, and she had a baby with her in the truck, and I was like,
See,
"Wow."
that's fine.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, it's a little baby," it's basically, that sort of thing, but once you like a toddler, that just wouldn't work, I don't think.
That would be allowed. I mean, it will work if you have help and you control your kids. A lot of people don't know how to control their kids. So it would help. But like I said, if they're little babies, then I wouldn't suggest it. And that's because I'm gonna say about 5, 6 when they gotta go to kindergarten.
Mhm.
You want them to have stability and they're not gonna get it in trucking
No.
because they're gonna always be on the road. So they're not gonna have the stable lifestyle that they could have had.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
but, if you homeschool them, you can still do trucking with them.
Yep, yep, you could, it can be done. What would you say about the general public? Like, what's the biggest misunderstanding they have about trucking?
That they can survive without us.
They cannot.
Essentially, we make sure you guys get everything that you need.
Yeah,
It's for, like, imagine, what we haul, everybody needs it. Now, if
yeah,
they don't get it, guess what? They'll be home. Nobody's going to work at
yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Cause how you gonna get to work?
we haul mostly motor oils, and
Mhm.
everything that moves in the world, and every piece of machinery in every factory, and
Has an engine.
every engine in the world needs to be lubricated, and that's
Mhm.
what we do. We get the lubricants from where they're produced, primarily to the distributors where they break the bulk, and then those distributors take it to everything from, the farmers co-op for the tractors to the bus lot, the city of Philadelphia bus lot probably has a bunch of totes of oil, to all the way to consumer use to we we go and deliver it to ships for, every ship on the ocean that moves has all its machinery. I mean, the world
Mhm.
literally will grind to a halt if we don't do what we do.
Yes, but people don't they just think, things mysteriously just appears, and they don't get that.
Y
And we have to get them in bulk, otherwise you couldn't keep up with the volume of things that we humans need.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
haul it because we need the volume, and they don't get that if we don't deliver, y'all don't get it.
yep, that's true. Yeah, it's really true. So, is this something you wanna keep doing, like, till you retire?
I didn't think about that. I think that I will do it because it gives me it's like at this company. I'm not gonna say nothing about any other company. This company,
Uh-huh.
it gives me the freedom to do what I want to do. So I can see myself retiring doing this. Plus, I'm not concerned about myself. I'm more concerned about my children. So I do this to make sure that they get the things that they need and they're able to do what they need to do, not for myself. I'm at the age where I don't give a damn. What the hell am I gonna do now? You know what I mean? I'm not even worried about myself. I'm worried about my children.
And you have 2
So
kids?
can I re
You got 2
yeah, I
kids?
have 2.
Okay.
Mhm.
Tell me about
And
them.
my
What
daughter well, everybody has kids and they think they just the cutest and they just good and all this other stuff. There's some badass kids out here. Now my kids ain't one of them. Let's just say that. I haven't had no problems with them. I have a girl and a boy. My daughter's in college. She's going to school to be a psychiatrist, so she's
okay.
doing good. And she said that she's going to take care of me once she gets her degree. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. I can only pray. So, and my son, he hasn't decided what he's going to do, but we have options. Like I told him, he wanted to do MMA, but he doesn't know
Ooh,
if that's what he's going to continue to do. Yeah, he's been training since he was 6.
wow.
So,
Is he all jacked out?
mhm, yes. You see him, he could take you on.
Alright, I'll steer clear of
So,
him. I know your mama.
yeah, yeah. So but he says that he's not sure if that's the route that he's gonna do, but he also what he told me was he wants to do engineering. So, they're doing what they're doing, and plus I keep my foot on their neck because y'all not gonna sit here and make me look bad. I'm not sending assholes out into the world. I'm just not doing it.
There you go.
So they go
There
to
you go.
school, and my daughter, she was working. She's not working now, but I give her an allowance so that way she doesn't feel inadequate. So
Right. Right.
while she's not, she is gonna get another job. I have a sister that's gonna, if all push come to shove and my son decide he doesn't know what to do, we already planned for, my son could probably be a detective. They
S
make damn good money.
so
I
y
didn't know they make so
your
much money.
your sister's a police officer
She's a detective.
within the
Big
Philadelphia Police?
difference.
No,
Nope,
I
in Jersey.
in
Yeah,
Jersey.
she
She's a
works with the
detective.
National Guard.
She's not walking
Yeah.
a beat. She's a detective.
No, no, no. She makes very good money. I didn't know they make so much money, so I said, "Damn, had I known about that, maybe I woulda did that in my younger years."
Well,
But,
yeah.
she said that if he wants to do that, she'll, guide him and train him and stuff. I got great sisters
Oh,
and brothers.
that's
Well,
great.
so
That's great.
mhm.
Anything else
So,
I'm gonna wrap up here. Anything else you like to tell people about being my favorite lady trucker?
oh, that's so sweet. It might not be true, but that's so sweet. Thank you.
I only know 2 lady truckers.
Yeah. Well, that's fine as long as I'm the favorite. Well, I got a couple things that people should take with them. If you're gonna be a driver, be a driver. Be the best driver that you can be. You don't have to be the best driver. Just be the best driver you can be. If you're a female, don't let that discourage you from being a driver. All you got is some shitty ass male drivers, believe me. They don't pay attention, they tear up shit all the time. If you're a female, don't let that discourage you, it being a male dominated field discourage you from doing it. You can make great money and still live the life that you want as long as you find a great company to work for. I mean, this applies to males too, but as a female, I try to, get more females to come in this field, so that they can provide a great lifestyle for their children, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
without without sacrificing too much.
Yeah,
And
those are good words, Naj.
yes. And the other thing is being out here, yes, it's dangerous, but I also, you still got to live your life, protect yourself, and keep your eyes peeled. Keep your head on the swivel. I pray, you know what I mean? When I get up and I walk out, I'm not too religious, but I know I do pray. I was raised, religiously, but I'm not a very religious person. So I
Okay.
do pray and I haven't had no issues. And I feel like if it is a problem, it is life. It's nothing you can do about it. Move on, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Do treat everybody with respect and you should do good in trucking as long as you not an asshole.
There you go.
So
There you go. Well,
yeah, don't
yeah,
be an asshole.
I feel the same way. I'm very thankful for the job, having lost everything and flat broke at 55, and my wife just looked at me and said, "You could do trucking, and you know what? It's America. You can start over."
You
And if
still
you
got your health, so you didn't lose
Yeah.
everything. You coulda
No,
lost your
no.
health and
No, you're
then
right.
you lose everything.
I lost everything financially, but
Yes.
I didn't lose my wife. I almost did.
Okay.
But, she stuck by me, and when she coulda walked, and our 3 children are all doing wonderfully, and I've got 4 grandchildren now, and, yeah, I have my health, and I do. I'm a big it's like this country, there's lots of opportunity if you're willing to put the work in, learn the skills, and do the job.
Right.
It's a lot better than a lot of other places in the world, and I'm proof positive that you can literally start over at 55.
Mhm.
And very thankful. I was just in the men's prayer group this morning, just came out of it, and that was one of my big themes talking to the guys. I'm so happy for this job and this company, and I thank God for that on the regular. So, well, thanks for doing
Oh,
this and taking
hold on, one more thing.
Okay.
I wanna remind people, women especially, there's no crying. You can cry, but don't cry over simple stuff. And definitely, us females should not cry because men will be disrespectful and they will do things just to get a reaction out of you,
Mm,
don't let it get to you. Otherwise, you're screwed. You will not make it in this field. I wanna make that very clear. It's important. You can't take everything too personal. Stand your ground and let them know what it is, but do not allow yourself to get so emotional that you cry and quit. Because a lot of guys do that on purpose just so you can quit to get you out the field.
mm,
That's all.
okay. That's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta stick up for yourself.
Mm.
Well, Naj, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it, especially taking a little bit of your home time to do this. And I'm sure everybody will really enjoy hearing about it. So that's Naj, and she's just really great. She's pretty tough, but also a really nice person. She's proof positive that women can do this job. And I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. So if you're a woman looking to get into trucking, I would follow her advice. It's important to find a good company and find something that works for your lifestyle. A lot of the local driving jobs where you're home every night make more sense for women relative to family needs, but it is certainly something that can and is done. So until next time, take care. Keep that shiny side up.